Hello there, I'm Nicky from the Haymakers, and welcome to another edition of How WWE Should Have Booked, where I look back at infamous WWE misbooking opportunities and talk about how I would book them differently because I'm a smartass. Ding! Wait a minute, I can't do that anymore now that Adam Blompy is back on YouTube. We'll workshop something. So, a long-ass time ago, I did a video about how WWE should have booked Jinder Mahal. That was the first part of the video, and if you want to watch that, the link is up in the iCard. This is not to be confused with Voice of Reason, who also had a really good booking of how WWE should have booked Jinder Mahal, and that will be down in the description. And I would highly suggest that you go ahead and watch the part 1 from up there in the iCard that I did. Otherwise, a lot of this won't make sense. But if you've already watched it and you know where we're at, let's get on it. So we've got a new WWE champion heading into Hell in a Cell in Jinder Mahal. So at the pay-per-view, at first it's Jinder versus Cena versus Kevin Owens inside the cell. But Sami Zayn is able to talk Daniel Bryan into letting him in the match, citing the fact that he got screwed by Owens and has beef with basically everyone in the match. On the go-home Smackdown, it's Cena versus Jinder non-title. And Cena is doing about 75% of the offense. Jinder's not quite at Cena's level. But near the end, two men hop the barricade. It's Samir and Sunil Singh. The ref is yelling at them, they get swarmed by security, but then Jinder grabs Cena and low blows him, not once, but twice, and hits the Colossus for the pinfall. The Singh brothers have finally showed up and are here to take a rising star and cement him into main event status like what J&J Security did for Seth Rollins, instead of making it seem like two randos are enough to take a jobber and make him world champion. So at Hell in a Cell we get to the four-way. The Singhs come out with Jinder and they both have a quiver over their shoulders filled with kendo sticks, and they help Jinder by feeding him kendo sticks through the cage. About 15 minutes into the match, all four men are worn out, the Singhs reach into their quivers again, and this time they pull out some bolt cutters. They break into the cell, armed with kendo sticks, and they just start battering everyone. Owens eventually catches one of the sticks, takes it away from them, and super kicks both Singhs. But Mahal sneaks up from behind, Colossus, pinfall, Jinder survives the cell. Next Smackdown, Jinder comes out celebrating with that big Bollywood party. He's having a good time. Make Jinder look a little lighthearted here. That way you're not telling the Indian people, cheer for this joyless, angry asshole. Daniel Bryan comes out and he has to walk through the Bollywood thing, and he just looks like a tourist. He's staring, he's smiling. Maybe he takes a selfie with one of the dancers. It's a happy time. So Daniel gets into the ring, and Daniel and Jinder are just chatting about all the extravagance. Make it seem like Daniel likes this guy despite being a heel. It'll make it easier for him to get over. But then, Daniel gets serious. He says, Jinder, you did great at Hell in a Cell, but we have Survivor Series coming up. And last year, the Raw vs. Smackdown setup was a huge success, so we're going even bigger this year. Along with the 5-on-5 match, we'll have Raw and SmackDown's women's champions compete, tag champions compete, mid-card champions compete, and Jinder's face right now is going, oh shit, and world champions compete, which means that Jinder Mahal will represent SmackDown against Raw's Universal Champion, the Beast Incarnate, Brock Lesnar. Oh, piss. After spending the rest of the show trying to get out of the match, next week he's talking to the Singhs like, okay, so the match is happening and I need to be ready to face Brock. So, who on the SmackDown roster is big, strong, and a good striker like Brock? I know, how about this handsome so-and-so? Cut to another scene backstage and Jinder's talking to Rusev, and Rusev's like, let me get this straight. You want me to be your tune-up match for Brock Lesnar? I am no man's tune-up. I am Rusev, the super athlete. Are you not familiar with Machka? By the way, Rusev's a face here, even though he was a heel at the time of this booking, because he's great and it's my fantasy, so if WWE doesn't like it, they can eat me. Jinder responds with, Rusev, if you beat me, then you just beat the WWE champion. Like, that's gotta put you into title contention, right? Rusev doesn't really have a retort for that because it's a really good point, and the main event for that night's SmackDown is Jinder versus Rusev non-title. And Rusev gets the surprise win with the Machka kick. Saying that out loud though, it really shouldn't be a surprise that Rusev would get the win on Jinder, but like, that's just the times we were living in 2017. Shit was weird. Anyway, the Machka kick is a really quick move, and Rusev can just fall into the cover and get the 3 before the Sings can come break it up. Next week, Jinder tries to avoid the title match that he sorta promised Rusev, saying that he'll get the match in 2021 and that he'll still be champion by then. Jinder doesn't get his wish though, and 2 weeks before Survivor Series, it's Rusev versus Jinder for the WWE title and the right to represent SmackDown at Survivor Series. The Sings get heavily involved and Jinder gets a sneaky win. And after the match, Brock and Paul Heyman pop up at the top of the ramp, and Jinder's thinking, oh shit, what did I just sign up for again? Go home show, Paul and Brock are doing their normal spiel. If they don't completely bury him like what happened in real life, that'd be nice. But then, mid-promo, Jinder slides in, hits Brock with the Colossus out of nowhere, and he skedaddles. However, Brock gets up from it pretty quickly, and Jinder is visibly worried. Then, Survivor Series happens, and I'm not gonna ask Brock to pull out a classic with Jinder Mahal, but a 7-minute match similar to Brock versus Joe at Great Balls of Fire, where Jinder gets in a little bit of offense but still gets his shit pushed in by Brock, that's fine. Also, I want to see what Brock would do to a Sing. I think it might resemble a javelin throw. So, next SmackDown, Jinder's walking into the arena, and he's limping, he's holding his shoulder, he's messed up. And he walks by Randy Orton, who shouts out to him, "Nice job against Brock, way to represent the blue brand." He sounds like a dick. So Jinder goes back to confront him and is like, I don't want to hear it from you, okay? I remember what happened when you fought Brock. SummerSlam 2016, remember that? I'd understand if you can't since Brock plastered your brains all over the canvas that night. Oh, snap, Jinder's got fire. So these two end up in a feud together. If Randy's cool with jobbing to Jinder 3 times when he was nothing in real life, then he'll be fine doing it once we've built him up a little bit. They'll face off at Clash of Champions. Jinder wins, decent amount of interference, but less than you might think. Next up is the Royal Rumble, and Jinder's next opponent is an old friend of his, AJ Styles. The man who not only took his US title, but completely beast moded him twice. Oh, and also AJ has since dropped the US title to a heel Bobby Roode. Jinder's on commentary for the match that Styles wins to earn the #1 contendership, and Jinder is pissed. AJ's been something like Jinder's white whale. He's been able to get wins over almost everyone else on the SmackDown roster in one way or another, except AJ Styles. He's just too smart to fall for his tricks, and Jinder can't stand that. So at the Rumble, Jinder thinks that if he can't outthink AJ, he'll just have to out-angry AJ, and he comes into the match angrier, more aggressive, and unfortunately for him, sloppier. He's barking all these orders to the Sings, and eventually he gets too aggressive and they get caught trying to slip him a steel chair, and they get tossed. Jinder tries to plead his case to the ref, but he turns around into a phenomenal forearm and a Styles clash. 1, 2, 3. Even though Jinder did way better this time, Styles wins the WWE title. And just for good measure, Shinsuke wins the Royal Rumble because they totally got that part right. Fastlane is next, and WWE seemed to be on a kick where they like doing big multi-man world title matches at the last pay-per-view before Mania, and yeah, that's fine, let's do one here. A 6-pack challenge for the WWE title with Styles, Jinder, Cena, Owens, Rusev, and Corbin. 2 weeks before Fastlane, we get the Rumble rematch, Styles versus Mahal for the title. But the match ends in a DQ because Jinder won't stop kicking AJ's ass. He's out of control and just won't stop even after the bell. But then out comes Cena to make the save, and we get one of my favorite things with multi-man matches. rapid fire finishers. Cena runs in and AA's Jinder. Owens runs down and hits a pop-up powerbomb on Cena. Styles recovers and drops Owens with a phenomenal forearm. Corbin runs in and hits the end of days on Styles. Then, surprise Machka kick from Rusev to Corbin. And finally, Jinder recovers and collapses Rusev to stand tall. One take! Then we're at the pay-per-view, and since it's a multi-man match and as such no DQ, Jinder is just going insane on people, especially AJ Styles. He's got kendo sticks and chairs, but all this aggression has the drawback that everyone gangs up on him, and not only do they lay him out for a little while, but the rest of the competitors kick the shit out of the Singh brothers to take them out of the match. And in the end, Styles retains by pinning Mahal again, and he is fuming. On Talking Smack afterwards, he goes on a tirade against Styles and flips out on the hosts. Cena, who was supposed to be a guest later in the program, tries to calm him down, but there's no stopping him. He ends up laying out Cena, throwing him into the front of the Talking Smack desk. So yeah, we're getting Cena versus Mahal at Mania. Jinder just sort of feels like a Mania opponent for Cena. But also, if WWE wants to keep Jinder at the main event level, Jinder should totally win this match. I mean, the Singhs can go crazy with the interference, sure, but having Jinder beat Cena at Mania will give you that detestable heel that could actually be a decent draw. If Cena wins, it'll just send Jinder into a mid-card spiral, just like what happened with Rusev. Now, does Jinder deserve to be in the main event scene? Maybe not, but if you've put this much time into him, why not keep him around? Main eventers are hard to come by. So let's keep Jinder around and have him feud with some good people. Maybe he can continue his feud with Cena. Maybe he can be Shinsuke's first feud after he wins the WWE title off of AJ at Mania, goddammit. Or you could have him finally get into a legit feud with AJ Styles and let him go mad trying to get that elusive win over him. And so that is how I would book Jinder Mahal. In this story, you've given him ample time to actually become credible as champion. He'll have built a brand in that time, and you actually may have a way to make money off of Jinder when you finally clock the big belt onto him. And maybe, just maybe, with a gradual build and some better writing, Jinder might actually get some fans out of this. And I think that would be something WWE would be happy about. So that's all for me for this story. You might have noticed that there aren't quite as many graphics on this video as there were with the last one. That's because I want to get these out kind of quickly, because I am a part of a subreddit right now called Fantasy Booking Elite, where they basically give you prompts like book such and such as at such and such time, and they'll give you a couple of days and you have to basically write out how you would book it. And I want to turn those into videos on this channel, so I'm going to start making that a regular thing, hopefully. So keep an eye out for that in the future, some more of these fantasy booking videos. So that's all for me. See y'all later.